Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome to another edition here of Step Chat. For those of you that I've not had the pleasure of meeting, my name is Steve Jones. I am your host. I am also the executive producer of Float, of Aloft Streaming, and several other projects that are associated with the Floativerse. And so, with that, I say welcome once again to Sunday night here on the Step. Okay, hello there, Stacy Chase. Good to see you, Hannah True. It's always a pleasure to see you as well. By the way, Hannah True, I owe you an apology. So somehow, well, not somehow, you were kind enough to send me a Christmas card. Guess who found it 3 days ago? Somehow the mail, a clump of mail, got swept up in my house and got put somewhere off. And as I was going through things and cleaning things, I found it. And so for that, Merry Christmas to you and your sisters as well. So there you go. So thank you. Thank you very much for that. I really do appreciate it. Um, Angela, good to see you. Thank you so much, Stacey Chase. A pleasure as always to see you. Melissa Fox, good to see you. Alyssa Murray, happy Easter to you as well. Jackie, good to see you. Thank you all for being here. Um, yeah, how y'all doing? My parents this morning sent me a text and they're like, "Hey, what are your plans this morning for what are your plans today for Easter?" I'm like, "It's Sunday." Oh, they were like, "Don't tell me you're working today." I'm like, "Well, it is Step Chat Sunday. So yes, I am working today." Joette, good to see you. Good evening to you as well. Um, so yeah, we got lots of stuff going on, lots of things happening, a lot of stuff to share with you about the Floativerse, believe it or not. Um, I know a lot of you guys were like, "Really? How much got?" But we got new stuff to talk about. So there you go. Um, Yeah, very, very happy. So let's see. We got Greg Aragoni. Good to see you as well, sir. Jen, good to see you. Happy hop hop, and to you as well. Thank you. Um, yeah, I hope you. I for those of you that, well, tell you what. Why don't we do this instead? Why don't we get to the actual slideshow and then we'll take it from there. So let's get to. Oh, damn it! I forgot. I accidentally closed that out and forgot to reopen it. So allow me to get to the slideshow so that we can actually show it to you and all that fun stuff. Um, yeah, so just bear with me for a moment here while I solve for time. There we go. And okay, that's open. That's good to go now. Like I said, every time this happens to me live on the air, I completely relate to Teresa when she was trying to do TMI all the time. And it's such a fun thing. Let's see if it'll do it correctly now. It keeps going back and forth where sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. So on my end, I'm seeing it. I don't know. Like I said, on my end, it's showing that it's just showing the slide or the window. And there we go. Looks good. Okay. So with that being said, folks, welcome to another edition of. Now let's make sure that actually, because the last time I think what happened was it didn't go to full screen. There we go. Okay. So using my cheat sheet here, my phone. So there we go. So welcome to another edition of Step Chat. And with that being said, I do want to wish everyone a happy Easter for those of you that celebrate. Um, for those of you that don't know this little guy, if you're new to the Floativerse, this was Roscoe. Roscoe was our beloved shop cat. That was also my co-host for about what 3 years on the show, maybe 3 or 4 years, almost well 3 years for sure. Um, Roscoe would sit right here next to me on the step. Most of the time, we looked at his butt during the show because he would like be active for about 10 seconds and then he'd go to sleep. Um, yeah, and Roscoe was an ornery cat. In fact, there was one episode where he literally left a claw in my arm. Like he attacked me on live on the show and left a claw in my arm. Um, but this photo is still the single most. It tears me up almost every time because he just looks so sweet and kind in this picture. Um, A to the L to the EXA was the one who, without question, could get this cat to do anything. Um, and he would allow her, not only would he allow her to put hats on him and everything else, but he would wear them and he would walk around where he would put outfits on. There was a whole campaign where people would send him clothes and stuff for him to wear and costumes. It was the most adorable thing. And he passed away a year ago last January, this past January. And we miss him dearly. So happy Easter to all of you. Okay, tomorrow. is a very, very important day in the life of individuals that are hoping to be teachers at Float, because tomorrow, April 21st, because tomorrow, April 21st, will be the day that our sponsors officially receive their packets for the approved instructor sheets. So, allow me to explain a little bit about this. So, as you all know, several months ago, people applied to be a teacher at Float. And actually, I take it that it was March 3rd. We start taking applications. We took applications all the way through March. We are now two-thirds of the way through April. All of the applications have been gone through, and I'm happy to share with you that the individuals that are approved are officially being submitted to our sponsors for selection starting tomorrow. If you are one of those sponsors watching right now and you're not, well, let's tell you what, let's get a little bit ahead of myself here. As we have discussed before, excuse me, as we have discussed before with this particular setup here, there are 6 sponsors who still have eligible picks in our instructor draft. Those instructors are, well, let's try this better as well. Three of our instructors have, interesting. I'll get to this in a second. 3 of our instructors have 2 choices to make, and 3 of our instructors have 1 choice to make. Those with 2 instructor choices are Anagram, Sempertex/Metallic, and Gemar. And those with 1 selection are Globus Piasso, Calisan, and Tuftex. Now, what we have decided to do in this process is allow them to make primary selections and alternate selections. The reason for the alternate selections is so that we can alert as many people as possible that there's interest in them teaching at Float. In other words, what we don't want to do is we don't just want to turn around and say, okay, here's the deal. You and you got picked by this person, you and you got picked by this person, you and you got picked by this person. Because undoubtedly, somebody's going to pick, like one teacher is going to be picked by more than one sponsor. It's going to happen. And so when it does happen, we want to make sure that all this is going down. So we want to make sure that as many people as possible know that they're still in the running, even if it's as an alternative. We want to make sure that they know that they're in the running. Hence, we've decided to expand this to 2 primary choices and 2 alternate choices for Anagram, Metallic, and Gemar. And we've expanded it to 1 primary and 1 alternate for Globus Piasso, Calisan, and Tuftex. As a friendly reminder, there are only 9 open spots left in the draft, and there are 20 eligible finalists, which means some of you are not going to be picked to teach at Float. It's that simple. We're not happy about it. It's not something we write home about and brag about by any means, but it's the way it is. We have that many spots available. By the way, I need to take a moment to alert everybody that for whatever reason or another, I am not getting notifications of comments. So I'm gonna close out my Facebook app here momentarily. I'm gonna bring it back up again and try to go and see if it makes a difference now. Okay, there we go. Okay, I got them all now. So I apologize. So I'll catch up with you guys here in just a second as far as comments and things go. Okay, there we go. Now, some of you might be wondering how exactly this is going to look, especially if you're one of those individuals. If you're one of the 20 finalists and you're watching this episode, you might be curious to know, okay, what's it going to look like? Well, I've already sent you over. No, that's not really true. You already know what it's going to look like. Okay, well, let's share with everybody else what it's going to look like. So basically, this is a sample page that I made up clearly of, let's try this again. Sorry. So this is clearly a sample page that I made up that's going to be sent to our sponsors for each individual instructor. As you can see here, there's a general information section. There'll be hot links to the individual social media pages as well as their website if they have one, descriptions of their classes, and their preferences. Now, it's important to note that each instructor was consulted before these sheets were made up. They submitted their headshot, they gave the information, they've shared us with whatever social media they wanted to send to. They're the ones that sent it in. if they, whatever. So like they weren't required to show Instagram. If they prefer Facebook or if they have TikTok, some people preferred their LinkedIn accounts. And some people, there's some of these sheets have multiple links, like they've got 3 links and a website. That's perfectly fine. We started getting all kinds of stuff from people though. And we're like, oh, look, we're not putting 16 different links on here. You don't need that. We just need one. We just need two. That's all we really need here. So there you go. Then we have the class descriptions. Now, these class descriptions are the classes that were approved by the advisory board. Remember, some of these folks submitted as many as 8 classes. Um, so, with that being said, these are the classes that the board approved. So these are the ones that the sponsors are going to be picking between if they choose this instructor, these are the classes that instructor is teaching. And then finally, down below, you'll see, for example, if they speak English, if they speak Spanish, if they speak Spanish and they're fluent in both English and Spanish, then their classes will be split between English and Spanish. If they only speak Spanish, then the classes will be offered once again in Spanish. And of course, the other thing they're released to open any sponsorship opportunities in this case means they don't necessarily have a preference of a brand. There are some instructors who do have a preference of a brand, and those are listed on their sheets. And then compensation expectations. So, for example, if they expect to make $2,000 plus their expenses, then that would say that $2,000. Some people did it per day. Well, that can get kind of tricky because it's like, well, do you mean travel days, teaching days? What are you talking about? And there you go. All of this, by the way, is negotiable. So if a sponsor reaches out to an instructor and says, well, I see that you have here and this and that, but this is what we're planning on, this is what we're prepared to pay. Are you willing to go with that or not? I mean, there are elements of negotiation that are welcome to take place during this process. I don't need to know any of it until we actually get to the down to the nitty gritty of it, which, by the way, is on May 5th. May 5th, 12 p.m. Pacific time, May 5th is the deadline for our sponsors to commit to their teachers. This means that by May 5th, I have to know if you have 2 choices and 2 alternates, I have to know who those 2 choices are and who the 2 alternates are. If you have 1 choice, then I need to know who the 1 choice is and the 1 alternate choice is. I must know this by 12 p.m. Pacific time on May the 5th. In the event that a sponsor has not submitted this information by that time frame, then we have an awkward situation to address. At that point, the sponsor will be refunded the sponsorship they paid minus the cost of their booth. That you get a free booth with a sponsorship. So we'll take the sponsorship fee, we'll subtract the price of the booth from that refund, and you'll get the difference back. And then we put that bad boy back out for anybody else to pick up. So it is very imperative that you pay attention to these deadlines. This is not something that you can just, well, we'll get to it in June. No, you won't. We need this done by May 5th because we have announcements coming up. So we need to get this all taken care of. Okay? So that's what that is all about. Okay, so again, I was having problems seeing comments and everything here, so please bear with me for a second while I go back. Lorena Lazada, happy Easter to you and happy Easter to Milton as well. Good to see you both here. Charlie Soria, good evening, my friend. Good evening to you. And yeah, Roscoe still gets all the hearts even with his passing. Ty, good to see you as well. Lisa McIntyre, always a pleasure to have not only our weekly network host, but our working wonder and our crew member at Float on board with us tonight. Linda, good to see you as well. Pia Guadalupe, hola amiga, good to see you. Dina, happy Easter to you as well. Dory, happy Bunny Day. Yes, thank you very much, Dory. We understand. We appreciate that from you. Thank you so much. Then lots and lots of Stacy Chase is watching for some strange reason. I don't know why. I don't know why it keeps notifying me like every 2 minutes that Stacy Chase is watching, but it does. So there's that. Okay, I've covered all that. Now, time to cover some stuff going on with Aloft streaming for everybody. I don't have a lot of new information for you here on this particular episode, so we will simply recap what you already know. First of all, we want to give a big round of applause to our next instructor who's coming up. This is Charissa. I think I blew it again. Every time I look right at it, I say Taylor. We'd like to give a big, warm float welcome to our friend Sharissa Sawyer, who's going to be joining us next month in May for our virtual class on May 13th on avoiding business burnout, since May is Mental Health Awareness Month. So yeah, when we were scheduling these classes, we talked to Sharissa and she said, "Oh my God, did you know that May is?" I did not. Well, this is perfect because I was looking to have you in on May as well. So that works out great. So again, as a reminder, all of our members of Aloft get free access to this class. If you are not a member of Aloft, there are two ways you can access this class. You can either purchase a membership to Aloft, $80 for 6 months or $120 for the year, or you can make a one-time purchase of $25 through the Orange Store on the Float website. That will get you not only live access to the class, but a digital copy as well. So there you go. Honestly, I truly believe that I say it every week. The Aloft streaming service, in my opinion, is one of the best ROIs in this industry. When you look at the amount of content that's available to you by way of classes, by way of podcasts, by way of videos, the whole bit, it's perfect. Dina, thank you very much for posting that link. I greatly appreciate it. Both links, thank you. You caught up with me there. So Dina, in the comments, here is posted on the Facebook comments, excuse me, has posted the links to both Aloft and to to our Float Orange Store. And so with that being said, it's floatconvention.com/Aloft if you'd like to become a member of Aloft Streaming, or floatconvention.com/Orange Store. Orange like the retail, store like orange like the color, store like the retail, all one word. Floatconvention.com/Orange Store. There you go. We're very much looking forward to meeting Sharissa next month with our virtual class. I also want to take this opportunity to remind you all once again that Aloft members get extreme benefits at the upcoming Float convention. You will receive early VIP access to the vendor showcase on Sunday, January 25th. You'll receive 24 hours advanced access to general class registration for our online system. You will receive exclusive express lane access at the Float registration desk on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. You will be able to make a reservation for yourself at the Designer Awards Gala, and you will receive a 10% discount on all merchandise in the Float Orange Store at the convention. So when you think about it, and again, this doesn't matter if it's the annual membership or the 6-month membership. Everybody here will get this benefit Float as long as you are a member of Aloft. And we'll cover this in just a little bit here, but you must be a member of Aloft on or before January 5th in order to take advantage of the benefits given to you as an Aloft member at the convention. We covered this a little bit last time. Part of it's fraud protection, so that people can't join and then quit 30 seconds after they show somebody that they can't refuse the charges or whatever. Plus, on top of that, there might be some like complimentary merch for Aloft members. I'm not saying for sure, but if that were to happen, we'd have to know you're coming. So there's all that. So how many members are there? As of right now, ironically enough, I believe there's almost as many members of Aloft as there are people currently registered to attend Float, which is about 230, I think. We actually had a lot more, and then the Aloft website had a massive epic failure on its 1-year anniversary, and we lost a lot of returning, like the auto renew didn't work. And so basically everybody with the exception of 3 people for whatever reason did not auto renew. And so we lost a whole ton of people when that happened. And we've been rebuilding ever since, trying to get back to where we initially were. So there's that. So thank you for bringing that up, and thank you for reminding me of that. No, I'm kidding. It's fine. It's not your fault. Okay. Another benefit to our Aloft members. This is a reminder. We recently acquired Balloon Training Institute, and it's being converted into the Float Training Institute. There are approximately 150 educational videos that are available from Balloon Training Institute that we are going to be giving away to all of the former BTI students, as well as to all of our Aloft members, starting on May 1st. However, if you wish to take advantage of this offer, you must join Aloft on or before May 15th. Now, some of you might be saying to yourself, wait a minute, you've been saying 200 videos. What's the deal? You're right, I have been, because I was under that impression. As I think I mentioned before, it started out with about 232 videos, if I'm going to be exact. Um, and then what ended up happening was I started going through the library and realizing that there was a lot of content in there that was replicated. And in fact, I'm discovering even more along the way. Like, for example, like, I'll give you an example. There was one video, there was like, Popcorn Box 2, Popcorn Box 4, Popcorn Box 5. And I'm sitting there going, like, where in the hell is Popcorn Box like 1 and 4? Right? Like, where are the other pieces? And then, like, 3 pages later, I find Popcorn Box, and it's the whole video. So I'm like, oh, for God's sake. So I went and uploaded all these videos, and now we don't need them because there's the whole video there complete. So and then, like, there's like five different videos on how to tie balloons. Don't know that we need 5 different videos on how to tie balloons. There were several what I'm calling copycat videos, which were um like how to make the same base plate, right? Like 2 or 3 of those. Um, and I understand they were created for different programs, and so I'm not suggesting that anything more than that. But I don't need to upload them all. I don't need to put them all out there. And then, like I said, I'm on the last page of downloads, and I swear to God, I think there might be 6 that we're actually keeping because, again, so many of them are replicated. Some of them were even labeled as "do not use." So I'm just like, okay, we're good to go then. So there's probably going to be closer to 150 videos as opposed to 200. It still doesn't matter. It's still a ton of content that you'll get for free. So as a former BTI member, you'll get all those downloads for free. As a current Loft streaming member, you'll also get those downloads for free, but you must be a member by no later than May 15th. The reason for this is simple. If there's 150 videos, and we've talked about before, if there's 150 videos, you need time to download them. I don't want somebody calling me, like I said, on May 30th, going, I just joined and these things expire tomorrow and I don't have enough time. Ah! That's why you don't get the benefit if you sign up after May 15th. Okay? It's that simple. Okay, folks, I do want to remind all of you that next weekend is kind of a big weekend in the world of the Floativerse because next weekend, April 26th and 27th, is our annual philanthropic 1 Million Bubbles project. And this year, as a friendly reminder, we are building the project in effort. Sorry, let me try this one more time. This year, our efforts are going to be both not only to share joy and love of balloons with our community and friends, but also to honor the memory of Olivia Delaney Chase, who we all know passed away way too soon. It's very easy for you to be involved in 1 Million Bubbles. All you need to do, go to the website at 1millionbubbles.org. That is not .com, that is .org, and sign up. You then design something and build it, and then you just share it all over the place. Share it with your neighborhood, post it on social media. Remember to use the hashtags 1 Million Bubbles and Angels for Olivia. And of course, we do ask that you include pink in your design as a way to honor Olivia. I, for one, still have no idea what in the hell I'm going to make. I don't. I don't mean to be rude. I don't. This year nothing's hitting me. Um, I'm half tempted to. Well, I just had to make a bunch of pink bunnies for Easter, and I used up almost all of my Qualitex links, pink links. Finally, um, I've got a couple of bags left of each one, so I couldn't do a giant pink balloon dog if I wanted to. Haven't done one of those in a couple of years out front. I think it was 2 years ago actually. Um, I just don't. I'm just drawing a blank, man. I just don't even know what to do at this point. Um, I might just do a cake or something, make it simple. I don't know what I'm gonna do. Um, but yeah. So There you go. Of course, I'm also trying to fight my care, but you also have to keep in mind we have a ridiculously busy week this week. This Thursday is Microsoft's Bring Your Family to Work Day, and we have like 8 or 9 different locations on campus that we have to have decor in place by 9 o'clock in the morning. I don't know what it is about that Friday the 25th, but everybody and their uncle's having a corporate event on that day. Senior nights for local high school lacrosse teams and soccer teams and stuff. Um, oh, it's a busy week. And Earth Day's Tuesday. We have a sizable order for that too. Um, so yeah, it's a busy time. Um, oh, nice. So Stacy, angelsforolivia.com. We are rebuilding the angel wing wall with the help of our friends. Oh, that'll be so nice. That'll be a lot of fun. Um, so there you go. We hope that you'll take part. And remember, you don't have to do a lot to be involved in this. You really, really don't. Um, in fact, um, Shayna Sharp, here's something for you. So Shayna Sharp is like I think she's actually like doing balloon streaming now for like Noggin or something, like some children's online programming. And she started it, as I understand it, as part of her 1 million Bubbles project back when we were all locked down. Like she actually did the 1 million Bubbles project and did live streaming, making stuff for people and teaching them how to do stuff. And it led to like a role on Noggin. I can't be 100% sure, but I'm about 99% sure that that's where it kind of started. So yay, very exciting about that stuff. So you never know where to go. Steve, you don't do simple, you will come up with something great. Well, that's very kind of you to say, but I don't have a lot of time. That's part of the problem too. We're last year, I didn't even start my project until the morning of Sunday. I barely finished it in time. And to be honest, it wasn't my best work. Um, but again, I was fighting my character in that. I'll do something. I don't know what I'm gonna do. But again, as much as I would love to, I won't be able to do anything massively huge. Because I just won't have the time. I probably won't be able to get started on it again until I probably won't have time to get started on it until Sunday morning again. That's why I'm thinking if I do something simple. And the truth of the matter is, I'm looking at the puffed heart, like in Teresa's example there, and I'm thinking that could also be something very simple I could go out and do. Just post that, and along with I could just replicate Teresa's setup there and probably knock that out in a couple of hours. So that would be a great thing to do too. So thank you all very much. I really appreciate you. If you have signed up through the website, by the way, the website is updated. If you have signed up and you haven't heard back from me yet, that's because I haven't see, I don't get the information from that. Um, it goes through the folks at Balloon Suite. And so, and if I request it, I don't it's not like the old days when they had nothing to do and I would get it immediately. So now the problem is I'm waiting until like Thursday to request the list. So there we go. On Twitch. Oh, Lisa, yeah, that's a good point too. You could actually do something on Twitch if you wanted to, is build it live and whatever, something of that nature as well. So yeah, that's true. We do not have to be committed to the metaverse, which of course we will be discussing a little bit later on in the show as well. We've been getting some requests from some of you like, hey, I haven't seen a digital newsletter in a while. What's going on? Well, I'm happy to share with you that Float Notes number 2 will be headed to your inbox later this week. It was my hope for it to be going out actually tomorrow morning, which would be Monday, April 21st, but combined with several other factors that I was working on today, I didn't get around to it yet. So that email blast will be going out later this week, probably Tuesday the 22nd or Wednesday the 23rd at the latest. So be sure to check your inbox for that if you are registered to attend Float. I also want to share with everybody that I'm thrilled that we got another new vendor coming to the vendor showcase in Reno. Let's give it up to our friends at Coda. Coda, as I understand it, is a float extender and a shine product based out of overseas. And as such, we're very excited that they're going to be joining us at Float as part of the Elatex booth. So I've heard of Coda. I don't know much about it. I know that Mary Hohikian is a big, big fan of the Coda products. So we are excited to do that. Oh, Shayna was on Twitch. Okay, there we go. Um, so there's so at least if you so I know that Mary really, really, really likes Coda. I've heard very good things about it. I have personally never used it. And again, keep in mind, they are coming in. So apparently, um, Elatex, our friends at Elatex, who by the way are expecting a baby. If they haven't had it, um, they were overdue. So I'm hoping I'm assuming, since I haven't heard from either one of them in a couple days, I imagine that I'm hoping that means it happened. Um, but they are going to be bringing Coda in as the exclusive U.S. distributor of the product. So it's going to be, so if you look at the floor plan on the vendor showcase, you'll notice that we didn't get a new booth. It's this, we're at the same booth count as we were before. The difference is that one of the booths is going to be pretty much dedicated in their space. One side will be dedicated to Coda, the other side will be dedicated to their own Elatex brand. So there's that. And we've had a lot of activity this week with the vendor showcase. We've had a lot of folks, some new folks reaching out about interest in the show. I've been doing a lot of essentially cold calling or that kind of blind marketing, so to speak. As far as that goes, several people that had inquired before have been circling back with questions. So I'm excited to see where this goes with the vendor showcase. We also have another exciting little bit of news for everybody. If you remember from our last convention, Mia Asano was our featured performer at opening night, and she brought the house down with her rock electronic violin performance. Well, I am finally at ease to tell you all that we got the contract from Mia. We'll be signing it in the next day or two, and we have locked her in for Float 2026. The QR code that you see on the screen takes you to Mia's Linktree account. So if you want to follow her on her social media or whatever, or go to her merch store or whatever you'd like to do, you can use the QR code on your screen to do just that. We are very excited to have Mia returning, joining us at Float 2026 in Reno. I was starting to get a little worried, to be honest with you, because again, I had requested the contract and we hadn't heard anything. Now, to be fair, a musician of Mia's caliber, I understand why she doesn't want to commit to us too early, right? Because like last year, for example, she got offered to go on a European tour with a band. Like she got, do you want to come with us as part of our band on this tour, right? So you don't want to lock yourself in that regard, or heaven forbid, like some other huge opportunity opens up, right? Like some, who knows? I mean, I mean, she's starting to get, like, she's actually getting endorsements now and that kind of thing, where she's like plugging products on her social media and everything else. So she's absolutely getting up there to where pretty soon we're probably not going to be able to afford her. So we're very thankful to have her while we do. If you weren't at Float 2024, you really, really missed out. She was fantastic. And this year, the schedule, the way it's going to work is because we have to start opening night earlier this year, we are going to be promoting her performance a lot sooner. So what's going to happen now is the doors to opening night are going to actually open at 7 p.m. as opposed to 7:30. Because what we did last year is Mia was like the warm-up act, right? So what we're going to do this year is we're going to actually open the doors at 7 so that people can come in and start getting seated and everything else. Then Mia's performance begins at 7:30, with opening night formally starting at 8 p.m. So that's how that's going to work. So we're looking forward to having you joining us in Reno, both for us and to see Mia. Just a friendly reminder that just a friendly reminder that applications are now being accepted for the Float Fashion Show. You can do this by going to the Float website at floatconvention.com and going to the activities and schedule page. The link is there. You can sign up and apply to be one of our sponsored instructors, one of our sponsored designers in the Float Fashion Show. No one will be turned away from the fashion show, regardless of whether or not you're sponsored. There's just benefits that go along with those who are and ones who aren't. As of right now, I'm happy to share with you that we have at least one person who is officially registered for the fashion show to be in it. Mind you, like I said before last week, we've had a couple other people that have been, already seeking out their own sponsors and have already been approved. As I mentioned before, there are 6 sponsorships that are already paid for. that are up for grabs at the moment. That doesn't mean more aren't going to come along. So if you'd like to be considered for that, that would be wonderful. Dina, thank you so much for that. Dina just posted the link to the direct text link to Mia's QR code there in the Facebook comments. And thank you very much for that. Appreciate that. So yeah, if you would like to be considered as one of our designers for the Float Fashion Show, just take a few minutes to apply. There's no charge to apply. You just have to be registered to float if you don't get sponsored. If you do get sponsored, you'll be comped, and then you'll be able to attend on your own. So there we go. However, I did promise all of you, hey, it's 6:37. I did promise all of you a very big announcement tonight pertaining to the future of Float. And this is true. As many of you recall, a few weeks ago, we started a thing called the Step Chat survey. And in that survey, the very first question was, if we were to add more master classes, how would you like us to do it? And then the second question was along the lines of, if we added activities going on, what would you like to do? After much debate and discussion, after some serious analyzation, and a couple of gut checks, we have decided tonight to formally announce the formation of the Float After Party. The convention is now officially being extended into the full day on Thursday, January 29th. This took some doing. I had to have some serious conversations with some of the team members. We had to analyze because there's a lot of work going on behind the scenes on that day. There's a lot of things we had to talk about as far as, is this going to burden the staff or overburden the staff when they're trying to do a million other things? Do we even have the ability to pull this off? Do we have the space? There's another event coming in right behind us. Do we have enough adequate room to do this? And so all of these things had to be analyzed before we could make this decision. Conversations with the hotel had to go down. Like I said, staff conversations, the whole bit. And I'm happy to share that we all came to the same conclusion that we can actually do this as long as it's done in a similar fashion as is the pre-funk activities. So better yet, at this time, allow me to introduce to you how the after party is going to work on Thursday, January 29th. The first formal activity of the after party is going to be the float feedback meeting, which will be taking place from 8:30, which will be taking place from 8 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. For those of you that have never attended before, the float feedback meeting is an opportunity for you to sit down directly with me and share with me your thoughts and ideas about what you just experienced at the convention and what you'd like to experience moving forward. The float feedback meeting is honestly, in my opinion, one of the most valuable things we do at the convention. It's a great way to find out what's on your mind, what are you thinking about, what's going down, that kind of thing. We got a great suggestion at the last one that we are still looking into the possibility of doing. Eliminating all of our by removing all of our paperwork regarding the class feedback forms by using QR codes. Very excited about that. Very, very excited about that possibility. So yeah, and that came from the feedback meeting. There's been several great suggestions given to us at Float that came from the feedback meeting. And so I always look forward to it. And the great thing about this one is normally the feedback meeting is held from 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. And people say, oh, I really want to go, but I have to leave my flights at X. Well, now that we've moved it up 2 hours, we hope that more people will be able to attend the meeting. After the feedback meeting has ended, from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m., we will be hosting 2 different business-themed masterclasses. These masterclasses will be included with your access as part of the Flotation Pass for free. So if you purchase a Flotation Pass, you will get access to these masterclasses for free as well. If you are not purchasing a flotation pass, you will be able to buy individual ticket access to these master classes. Now, the reason why we had to go this route, obviously, is because of the fact that our AV team is leaving like at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning that day. All of our sponsors are going to be trying to pack things up and get skids together and get out the door and catch flights themselves. And it's not fair to ask them, oh, yeah, by the way, don't pack that skid yet because we need you to sit on all this product and wait till we're done with these classes that we added on after the fact. So the easiest solution was to make them just business classes and only business classes. And it turns out that because of our investments over the years, we've bought some AV equipment of our own. We own projectors, we own sound systems, we own screens, we own a couple other things. So the idea is, that was one of the other conversations I had to have too, was with our own in-house AV team. I've talked to Beth about the possibility of can we pull this off without, taxing too much and everything else that's going on with all the evacuation that we're trying to get going. And the general consensus was that we could do it. So yay. Now, you'll also notice that these master classes are only 3 hours long as opposed to 4. This is on purpose, obviously, because we're trying to work up a schedule. And the idea is that because there isn't going to be hands-on opportunities going on, because this stuff is all going to be business oriented, you'll be able to get more in-depth information in a shorter period of time. A lot of times with the hands-on classes, 4 hours is good because they'll take a break in the middle, they'll go do something else, they'll whatever. People can kind of come and go during that, and there's kind of a fluff period where you need more time because different people need to get to different machines and try things out. In the case of a business class, we believe that this can all be really compacted into 3 hours with a very minor break in the middle. And so therefore, no sacrifice to the class is made. And obviously, the instructors that we will be having do these classes will be made aware of this and the intent to keep it going, but keep minimal, or even not even necessarily formal breaks. There might be a formal 10-minute break or whatever, then going. But if obviously you have to leave, you have to leave. And again, if you're a Flotation Pass member, you get access to these classes for free, as well as the come and go access, and you'll get the class notes that are available as well. From 1:30 p.m. to 3:30 p.m. that day, after the master classes have ended, we will be leaving the Grand Sierra Resort and Casino for the first time formally and headed out somewhere for a nice group lunch. As you can imagine, this will be on your own dime. You'll be paying for these expenses yourself going out, but we'll be going out as a team and going out as a group so that everybody can get together one last time and then try some of the local cuisine in the city. So basically, what we'll do is we'll be grabbing up Ubers and heading out somewhere. We'll talk to the hotel somewhere about a nice local restaurant that we can go to, that we can, have lunch at or whatever. That's kind of a good place in Reno to eat. That's kind of unique to Reno, and that's kind of the idea. Kind of like the Bandanas in St. Louis, where we go, out next door to the hotel. That the great thing about that is we could walk there, but the downside is it's always January and it's always freezing. Um, we do well, keep in mind, Reno is not exactly like summer central, but it's like Seattle weather. So it's for the most part not too bad. But again, getting an Uber, we go, we come back, everything's fine. Then from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m., after the group gets back from lunch, we will reopen the official float jam room and flop zone for the next several hours. Now, this will be relocated into a different space, as the original jam room will be occupied at that time by a new group coming in behind us at the convention. Jen, I really got a question. You are the first person I have ever heard to say that bandanas was gross. There are people that literally can't wait to go to Fulcrum because they want to go to bandanas. You're the first person I've ever heard say that. I'm not disputing you. I'm just saying you are the first person I've ever heard. Now, it's important to note that the jam room is not going to be set up like it is during the convention. Okay. Again, all of our sponsors are going to be packing up and leaving. So unless they want to just donate some balloons that are, hey, you know what, these are left over, you guys take them and use them, whatever, but that's it. So basically, you're going to be on your own. That's why we're also referring to it as the flop zone, because this way it'll just be a general connection space where everybody can kind of hang out and just visit for one last time before thing all kind of goes wherever. Um, oh my gosh, we all talked about it. Well, you're the first. I've never heard this. I'm really surprised. I mean, because I love it. I love going there. I really enjoy it. So basically, and keep in mind too, we've rented like 20 couches and stuff for this. Well, those will all be gone. So you'll get one last blast with the inflatable furniture during the jam room in this case in the afternoon. But again, this will be one more collection space that everybody can kind of hang out together and just kind of visit, you know, from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. Now, the reason why we have an asterisk behind it is because technically speaking, the room won't have to close at 7 p.m. It can kind of veg a little bit, but you'll see why in a minute. And finally, the last formal activity during the after party will be our official bowling night at the GSR. That'll be starting around 7 p.m. and ending when it's done. So everybody will be allowed to come in and join us at the bowling alley. You'll be on your own as far as lane fees and shoes and the whole thing goes, but you'll be able to join us. We'll have our own section of the bowling alley where we can all kind of get together and have fun, hang out, bowl, be silly, eat, drink, and just enjoy ourselves for one last night before we all go home back to our regular lives. But will there be a bar? Okay, there will not be a bar in the jam room. There is a bar in the bowling alley. So, because dear God, what bowling alley doesn't have a bar? So there you go. Um, yeah, I'm very much looking forward to that. The original plan for this was there was going to be a Thursday night float crew bowling party. And that's still going to happen. We're still going to be there. We're all going to be at that from during the duration of the evening. The staff is done. Hopefully, at that point, we're all done. I mean, the inflatable furniture, this time we're not taking it. It's one and done. It's one and done. We're letting that puppy go. So once that's basically done, everything will just get popped or deflated. If somebody wants to keep it, they can take it. Because we have to be out of the space where see the feedback meeting, the master classes, and the jam room are all going to be in the crystal ballroom section of the event space because that's the only space that we really have until midnight. As far that's big enough to host what we're doing. Everything else is gone. Everything else is being taken up by this other group. In fact, at one point, we're going to have what's called a transition day where we are going to be loading out while they are loading in into the same spaces. But the crystal ballroom is entirely ours for that day. So that's what's going to be going on there, which is why things have to change. But ideally, once the bowling event is done, we hope to be completely finished and packed up and all of us go get a good night's sleep and then get ready to go home the next day. So there's that. So and keep in mind the feedback meeting, right? The lunch outing, the jam room, bowling night. That I mean, well, again, you don't have to bowl. If you just want to come and hang out with us, you're welcome to do that too, and there's no cost. Okay, so all of these are accessible with your float registration. The float feedback meeting historically is open only to attendees, but I don't care if you bring a spouse with you or whatever, if they really want to come to it. Obviously, if you're attending the business theme master classes, you will need to have your badge with you because you will have to be checked in. That's the only thing there. So you obviously have to have that with you so we can confirm that you are who you are. But yeah, very excited about this. Now, because of the fact, let me see, go to the next screen. Now, because of the fact that we just formally announced not only more master classes, but also a complete new schedule to the overall convention, we can no longer wait until September to announce who our master class instructors are going to be. We can't. So in May, when we go through Float Week and we announce all of our general class instructors, I'm happy to share with you that we will be announcing all of our 8 masterclass instructors as well during that week. So you will all know in advance who is going to be teaching master classes at Float. Now, this does not mean tickets are going to go on sale. This does not mean that flotation passes are going on sale. We are simply going to be announcing who is going to be teaching these classes. The reason for this is obvious. Not all the airlines have opened up yet far enough to where you can get your airline tickets for float yet. So we want to make sure that we announce, because what we don't want to do, an airline ticket now might be a lot cheaper than in September. Then again, they run Christmas specials half the time too. Who knows? But the bottom line is, we don't want you to buy a ticket and then be like, dude, I want to take that master class and now I'm flying home in the middle of it. And you can always change a flight, but I understand that that also means some other things, right? We don't want you to have to do that. So we're going to announce the master class instructors as well. So that way you'll know, wow, I really want to take that class, or well, you know what? I can still go home and it's fine. Okay. And for those of you that are wondering, yes, the discounted rate for the float group does count for Thursday night. So if you do decide that you want to spend the rest of the day with us hanging out and everything else, you still get the discounted room rate that night. Thursday night is the last night you get that rate. Okay. Well, as you can see, things for the convention are moving right along. Now let's get to some more of our local conversations and topics. Today on the Step Chat survey, the question that was posed to everybody today was, how many times a year do you travel to attend a convention? Now, keep in mind, there were some caveats to this that some of you may have missed, but overwhelmingly, the response that we got from people on our Facebook survey was that they travel 2 to 3 times a year to take classes or attend balloon related events, where the next matter up was once a year. So, thank you very much to everybody who took the time to participate in our survey. Now, again, I would argue that some of you missed the point. Some of you guys marked this, and I know that some of you are attending these events to market your business. I know that some of you marked these events because you're speaking at these events or whatever. These aren't the same thing. So basically, if you were compensated in some way, or you are going to attend as a vendor, sponsor, whatever, that wasn't really the point of this. This was more of, how many of you actually invest money to go out of town and attend an educational event or a class or something like that, and at least spend the night. That was kind of the thing. Um, the title of tonight's episode of Step Chat is "But Wait, There's More." Oh, we're not done yet. We're not done yet. Okay, hold on. Crystal Rutan. No, oh, Chelsea. Sorry, not Crystal. Chelsea. To CR. See, that's what I saw. The real question is, can we go from the float party room to float party room 2 with our hotel bar brought with drinks without I'm gonna dispose? Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay, so in other words, can we go from room to room? In other words, can you go from Okay, I'm gonna get to that in a minute. Let me get to that in the follow-up section, okay? So there we go. Murphy, stop. Murphy's getting anxious, as you can tell. Um, so there's that. So, yeah, I know some of you missed the point on that, but that's fine. I still got a very good gist of it. I remember years ago, Patty Sorrell ran a very similar survey with her attendees, and the answer was a solid 2. It was 2 times a year, but in her case, and I'm sure in many of your cases, it's in her case, it was a balloon event and then some other event, whether it was face painting or magic or juggling or whatever, right? I'm sure with you guys, it's like, for a lot of you, it's like float and then like a party show, or it's float and a floral expo, or maybe the ILEA event, like the Cater Source event or something like that. So that could very well be what those are as well. But it was very interesting to get a feel for that, because that naturally, and I was shocked that nobody said every other year. So that's a good thing. I'm glad to see that everybody's doing well enough to where they know they can at least leave once a year and go out and do something. And that was very good. One of the things we don't talk about often enough on Step Chat, and something that we need to bring up once again, is one of your benefits for attending Float. If you are actively registered to attend the Float convention, you are allowed to become a member of the Float Forum, our exclusive Facebook group only for attendees of Float 2026. If you are currently registered for Float and you are not a member of this group, feel free to send me a message and I will happily send you a link. Also, if you look in the email that's going out later this week, you will be able to find the link for the forum in there as well. Keep in mind, this group is exclusively only for those people that are academically attending the convention. It doesn't matter if you're a veteran or if you're part of the foundation level. You get to be a member of the Float Forum by being an academic registrant for the convention. You don't get in with a jam pass, you don't get in with a weekend pass. You also cannot be a member if you are a sponsor or a vendor. The reason for this is pretty simple. We kind of want the group to be able to know that they can talk freely in there. If they have a problem with a product or they have a problem with a vendor, they want to be able to talk about it openly. I have no doubt in my mind that people screenshot stuff and send it out to people. These things happen. But at the end of the day, people want to know. And at the same time, I don't want sponsors or vendors redirecting the conversations. We don't have a lot of the same filter rules in the forum like we do in the main float group. Like in the main float group, we had a bunch of new people join. And of course, the first thing they do is they want to share their posts of, it always never ceases to amaze me too, where people post these things like hire us for your graduation party, blah blah blah. It's like, dude, this ain't read the room. This ain't what we're doing in here. Um, but but I get it. But in the forum, portfolio posts or what I call praise posts are allowed. So in other words, if you've done something you're very proud of and you want to share it with everybody, there you go. I do want to remind everybody though, because we had an incident that happened a week or so back that I completely overlooked. You're still supposed to remain positive. You're not allowed to trash other people's stuff. So you can't make a post that's intended to trash somebody else's work. Okay. One got through last week and I didn't even think about it. And somebody else pointed out to me, hey, did this rule change? I'm like, oh, no, it didn't. Thank you. And next thing I knew, the post was gone anyway. But remember that you're not really allowed to bash people in the group. The idea here is that everybody kind of, warm and fuzzy kind of thing. And that's it. But the truth of the matter is there's only about 200 people that are in the forum right now. Teachers are allowed to be in the forum, float crew are allowed to be in the forum, and attendees are allowed to be in the forum, and that's about it. So you're not going to get 7,500 people responding to your questions, but what you are going to get are people that actually know what the hell they're talking about. To me, there's nothing worse than asking a question in a Facebook group and getting, well, that's never happened to me, but if it was me, this is what I would do, when you don't have any clue or foundation of how to make this decision. You've been doing balloons for 6 months. Why are you offering anybody business advice or act? I mean, this is not to say that you're not capable of it, but the likelihood of it being any good is slim. That's the great thing about the Float Forum. If you name it, it's probably happened to somebody in the forum and they actually have a real answer to give you. So again, if you're registered to attend Float 2026, feel free to join the forum. We do allow people to join the forum if they attended Fulcrum, but keep in mind the deadline, we have a starting point that starts over again, and that was in March. It was St. Patrick's Day, March 17th. And then if we end up putting together a summer workshop or something like that, a lot of times we'll let people come. The reason why we don't let Aloft members, like if you're just an Aloft member, the reason why we don't allow you in the forum is because, let's face it, it's one thing to be a subscriber to Aloft. It's another to sign up for an event and then fly there and then put yourself up in a hotel and feed yourself while you're there and all the other stuff that goes along with that. So it's about maximum effort. I also want to share with everybody that if you are looking for a roommate, for Float 2026, the Float Roomies post has been added to our Float the Convention Facebook group. It has been pinned to the top of the page and will remain there until the convention comes in January. So whether you are looking for a roommate to share the room you already have booked, or if you're someone who's looking to share one with somebody who already has a room booked, leave your name and information in the comment section on that post, and people will get back to you as they need resources. I do want to take just a moment to share a little bit of heartbreak. The lady on the right in this meme is Barbara Stevenson, our friend who passed away last week. It didn't even occur to me until I made the post. I went, "Oh my God, that's Barbara in the meme." So, as respect to Barbara for this last year, we will we will use this meme for this year. I don't know if it's appropriate to do it afterwards. So we'll probably make a new one then. But as a tribute to our friend and to keep her around for a while longer, we're going to continue to use this meme for the rest of this year leading up to the convention. You will also notice that this week we started something brand new by offering what's called the Step Chat Summary. This is an abbreviated version of our weekly Step Chat conversation, basically covering the primary elements of the conversation. We eliminate much of the chatter. We eliminate a lot of my bantering and rambling. We we eliminate a lot of the expansion coverage and just get you the core information that you need for those of you that are too busy to watch Step Chat or just can't keep your attention span long enough to listen to the entire show. I've been meaning to get to this for a while. And in fact, at one point, I even thought about doing a live abbreviated version of the show that would be done like on another platform. And then I realized there's no way in hell I can do that. I have enough going on in my life. I can't do another bam, 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 rapid fire kind of show. So, with that being said, we decided to come up with the Step Chat summary. However, while it is true that we received a tremendous amount of positive feedback from this, especially from folks who are just like, I don't have the attention span to watch the entire episode or listen to the entire episode, we condensed, we are still getting complaints from individuals that even in its summary state, it's too long. Last week, last week's episode was 74 minutes, and we condensed it down to 28 minutes. And I thought, this is cool. Okay, now we'll have people very happy, and there you go. And as long as we keep it under 30 minutes, I don't see why it's a problem. But some of you have said that that is still too long. Some of you have expressed that you would like to see the summary platform downsize from 30 minutes or less to 15 minutes or less by basically highlighting just the bullet points. So, with that being said, here is the effort we are going to make moving forward. With every new slide that you see on the screen, I'll make a 15 to 30-second statement with the intent to make a completed definition of the slide during that time. This slide and a coordinating statement, this slide and coordinating statement combination will be edited into the Step Chat summary as the bullet point for that particular slide. Then anything I want to say expanding on a particular subject will be edited out of the summary video. You may have noticed tonight that during this recording, there's been some awkward pauses. And there's been some, wait a minute, let me try that again. Blah, 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 blah. This is why. If you caught it and you're like, what is going on? This is why. I have been trying to make a concentrated effort to get a nice clean take or as much of a clean take as I can so that when I go back to edit this video later, I'll have a nice clean cut point that I can make and then just cut, 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 cut without having to listen to the entire length of the video. So the idea is kind of just to go slide, 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 slide. Watch it on 2 times. Well, yeah, that's funny. The kicker, though, of course, and I was having this conversation with A to the L to the EXA today, and she said, "Well, you know what's going to happen? People are going to start emailing you asking for more details on something you brought up on the summary." And I'll be like, "Yeah, that's right." And guess what they're going to hear? No, that's why you got to watch the other one. So why don't we talk about that for now? Before I go any further, please note if we have special episodes with extended coverage that cover a particular topic of conversation, those sections of the Step Chat episode will be cut out and released on video as separate videos entirely. Okay. So, like, for example, when we had, I mean, here, we did a whole thing on the pricing the different levels of pricing. We had another one on if you want to be a teacher at Float, right? And those sometimes go on for 2 hours. I mean, we had a COVID episode that went on for like two and a half. So the idea here would be very simple. That would not be part of the summary. The Snapchat summary in that case would be a separate video. And then this content pertaining to the special topic that we're expanding on, that would be its own independent video. So that way you have the ability to go back and forth and watch whatever you want without having to go through the entire summary process to get the information that you need. Because YouTube likes regularity, here's the schedule that we're going to be doing with regard to our Step Chat releases. The live Step Chat broadcast will continue to take place every Sunday night right here on Facebook on the Float Facebook page, which is facebook.com/float 2026. So the live Step Chat's not going away. We're going to continue to do this every Sunday night. So for those of you that join in, still love to have you here, still enjoy having you here. And we're going to continue to do these shows every Sunday night. So that way, if you have a live question, you want to ask it to me directly, here's your opportunity. We are always going to have this live Q&A every week, with the exception, it may not always be on Sunday. There's a couple Sundays coming up in June that I can already tell you we're not going to be able to do a show because of all the crap we have going on. But that doesn't mean we won't do it on Monday, right? But the point is that we will still continue to do a live weekly Q&A interaction with everyone in the Floativerse, period. And that'll be taking place here on Facebook on the Float Facebook page. On the following Monday, the full episode of Step Chat from that particular week will then be uploaded to our YouTube channel. Quite a few of you have expressed the fact that you have a hard time finding past episodes of Step Chat. Well, we've also talked about the fact that we rely way too heavily on the metaverse. So, with that being said, we are now going to start uploading permanent copies of our Step Chat episodes onto the Float YouTube channel. I'll go into that more in just a moment. Then on Tuesday, the following Tuesday after the Step Chat episode, we will then broadcast. Sorry. We will then upload the Step Chat summary onto our YouTube channel as well. This will be the bullet point thing. This will be the this point, this point, this point, this point, this point. Now again, you're one of those people that's begging and pleading for the summary, and I think that's great, and I'm glad for it. I really am. I'm glad to know that, because a lot of people had very positive things to say about it. But you got to understand that if you want me to now expand on stuff, well, guys, that's why we have the full episode. So I may direct you back to that. And if I do, don't be mad. But the great thing is you'll have something to look for because you'll know what slide to look for, right? You'll be able to know, okay, well, it was about halfway through the thing. So it's about halfway through the main show too. So there's that. So yeah, very excited about this. We're going to start really utilizing the YouTube channel a lot more. Speaking of which, you can find us on YouTube with our handle at the Floativerse. Believe it or not, Floativerse was already gone. I was shocked. I really was shocked. So we were going under a different, it was like Float the Convention 5995 or something randomly chosen by YouTube. And I didn't know back then how to change it. But we are now, our handle is at the Floativerse on YouTube. So go there. And of course, this may sound cliche, but we'd also very much like it if you would like our posts, share our posts, and subscribe to our channel and ring the bell for notifications. Yep, I know I sound like every YouTuber influencer out there, but it is very important to the whole algorithm to get that moving. So if you want to support the channel and if you want to support Float in general, subscribe to us, please. Make sure too on the episodes that you actually watch that you like them. And if there are people you can share them with, if there's people that are like talking to about different things or whatever, we'd love it if you'd share the link with them as well. I'd also like to take this opportunity to remind everybody that on the Float Network, coming up on April 30th, the ladies of Float are back with Working Wonders. And their episode this month deals with all kinds of equipment conversations. The ladies are going to talk about what pieces of equipment they own that they cannot exist without in their businesses. So join Ronnie, Lisa, Debbie, and Crystal on Wednesday, April 30th at 5 p.m. Pacific time, 8 p.m. Eastern time, and whatever the hell time it is where you are. I, for one, am very excited to see the show. They did cover a similar topic, uh, 2020, 2021. So it'll be curious to see what changes, if any, have taken place since then. A lot of stuff has come out there. Steve in his influencer era. Thank you. Yes, there we go. Now, the bottom line is, though, we got to think about that kind of stuff. But here we go. Um, so yeah, I for one am very excited about the show. I always look forward to the Working Wonders. It's a great thing. It gets a little chaotic at times, but I think we all agree there's some very, very knowledgeable stuff in there. And for those of you that are looking for some of the back episodes, some of the back episodes of Working Wonders are available on the YouTube channel as well. And some of the back episodes are also available on the Aloft streaming service as part of the bonus material stuff. So you're welcome to check that stuff out as well. Exciting times to be sure. And finally, don't forget that this coming Tuesday night, 5 p.m. Pacific time, 8 p.m. Eastern time, and that's right, whatever the hell time it is where you are, join Lisa McIntyre for Kicking Back with Lisa Mac, our virtual happy hour every week live on the Float Facebook page. You can find the link to the live call in the Float Facebook group if you'd like to join. You must be a member of the group, however, to join in on the live call. If you don't want to join the live call, you're welcome to interact by leaving comments on the live feed that takes place for the first hour of the show. Then after that, it goes into what's called after party mode, where it stops streaming live and everybody kind of gets real. So you're welcome to be part of that as well. Keep in mind, if you are fairly new to the Floativerse and you want to make some friends and you want to meet some new people before the convention, this is an excellent way to do so. And as Lisa has pointed out in the comment section, everyone is welcome to be on the call. There's a lot of the same people tend to get on the call, but that doesn't mean you can't join them too. So please, if you'd like to join us live on the call, you must be a member of the Float the Convention Facebook group. Now, again, I am aware that this information is also now going to be broadcast live on YouTube, which means we're going to get random yahoos who want to join the group only to get on there and live bomb the call. So keep in mind, we know you are. So, yep. Oh, Dina, thank you very much. And for those of you watching on Facebook, Dina just posted the link, the direct link. It's youtube.com/@ the @ symbol, and then the Floativerse. So thank you, Dina. Thank you for posting that. And with that being said, my friends, that ends our live presentation for the evening. And we are at 74 minutes, just like last week. Okay, so we had a question during the call. That is a very valid question that needs to be addressed, and that is from Chelsea. The real question is, can we go from float space A to float space B, basically, with our hotel bar bought drink without having to dispose of it? That is an excellent question that I do not have an answer to yet. I will reach out to our handler, who's our event specialist at the hotel, and find out what the formal policy is with that. Chelsea is referring to probably what happened in Chicago, where people would go, like the bar in the room at Float was really backed up. So people would go to the main bar and buy a drink, and then they would come back to the hotel room or come back to the Float space, and they wouldn't let them in because they had outside alcohol. So we have to investigate that and find out what the policy is there. Because again, where does it end? I mean, how can you tell the difference between a hotel bought bar drink and something in your room? The other thing you also have to keep in mind, which is a reality of putting on this convention, is that we have to generate X amount of revenue for the hotel by way of alcohol, or by way of food and beverage, I should say. And so if we have a bartender in a room, they're expecting us to sell X amount of drinks. So think of it that way, as I need to help support the convention by buying my alcohol in the room. Now, we might be able to work something out with, we might be able to come up with some system, but I could see where that could get abused too. So like I said, let me talk about it with our handler first and find out what's going on from there. Okay, that was the only question that I saw posed during the episode. So if you guys have any additional questions, now is the time to post them. I'd be more than happy to address them. Um, yeah. So I, for one, am really excited about the Thursday after party concept. I was going to do a live announcement of this on Thursday on Instagram. And then I realized that I wasn't really prepared to yet. I really didn't. I wasn't really kind of mentally, I guess. I know it sounds silly, but I don't know that I was even mentally prepared to announce it yet. And I thought to myself, well, this is kind of a big deal. So let's do it on Snapchat where people are going, you sound so happy and excited. I am. I am very happy and excited. Float, it's it's growing. It's still growing. I mean, the problem is eventually we're gonna hit a point where we just can't do anymore. I mean, we can't unless we start having like 3 a.m. events, just not gonna be able to do anymore. Um, Mind you, we do have a hell of an idea for 2028. No, I'm not talking about it yet. Yes, call me a tease all you want. I don't care. Um, but yeah, we're gonna reach a point at some time here where we just can't. There's only so much we can do, right? Um, so when you talk to the hotel, can you request they carry Malibu rum? No, you're not kidding. Sandy Presley, you're not kidding. I can make that note. So there we go. In fact, we had a similar situation happen last time. Um, One of our attendees had a gluten allergy, I think it was, and I believe there's one non-alcoholic beer that is gluten free, and the hotel didn't serve it. And they asked, "Is there any way that the hotel can serve this non-alcoholic beer?" And I believe we coordinated that. I think we got that actually addressed. God, I got to remember who that was and bring that up again, possibly. So there's that. I will say, by the way, for those of you attending Float who are of the Jewish faith and are planning on kosher meals, I can honestly tell you at this point that the hotel does apparently have a relationship with a catering company who does their kosher meals. Debbie Levy, our Jewish grandma, has specifically asked for more information because apparently there are some of you that have very, very strict dietary restrictions when it comes to kosher. And I have passed that along to the hotel, and the hotel is investigating that and will be back to us soon. So apparently, it does appear. Debbie likes to take it upon herself to help out with that, and we love her for it to death. It makes my life a lot easier knowing that she's out there kind of doing the footwork for me. And she was having a real problem because she couldn't come up with anybody that was offering kosher meals in the area, or kosher catering for that matter. So we had to. In fact, it was very funny when we went to. Well, it's not funny, but when we hosted the Chris Adama workshop in Lubbock, we had reached out to a synagogue and said we can't find anybody anywhere that does Jewish catering. And the dude, he took like three weeks to email me back, and he actually called and he said, "Dude, it's Texas. There's nobody here." And I said, "Wait, are you kidding? There's nobody?" He's like, "There's nobody." Um, he said, "Yeah, there's no one here providing kosher food." I said, "There's not even a family in a temple we can talk to about making it." He's like, "Nope, they've all just kind of given that up here because it's not available." I was like, "Wow, that's really saying something." Um, but yeah, so thank you, Debbie, for helping out with that. But again, we'll get that information to you as soon as we can. Um, so anything else? Anybody else got anything? Don't tell Murphy I hit his squeak toys again for the call. So he had them all day. You got to enjoy them. Don't worry, he was fine. Um, Other than that, I guess we're okay. I'll wait another minute to see if there are any more questions coming in. But other than that, um, yeah, very excited. Big day tomorrow with the teachers. Big day tomorrow. Big day tomorrow. Um, yeah, I I hope it doesn't take till May 5th to get all the teacher responses back, but I have a feeling it's going to. I have a feeling there's going to be one sponsor and I don't know who. There's going to be one that's going to wait till the very last minute and, oh, we can't decide. We can't decide. Um, like I said, I don't know who it's going to be. I really don't, but there's going to be one. But ideally, if you're watching and you're one of those people in the Tony that's like, oh God, how's that going to go down? If we get them all turned back in, if they turn in all their requests by like Wednesday, then we'll expedite this timeline. But what we don't want to do is we don't want to notify teachers that okay, you've been chosen, but there's still one more left to choose, because then what happens if that person turns around and picks somebody we've already notified? Right, so we can't do that. If you are one of the instructors, by the way, in the draft, and you have not heard anything by May 6th, if you've not heard anything by May 6th, then I can honestly tell you that your chances of being picked at that point are probably slim. They're not out, but they're probably slim. Because remember, we're allowing people to pick primaries and secondary instructor choices. If you're not selected as even a secondary choice, chances are you're not going to get picked to teach. That doesn't mean it's not possible, because again, if we have some people, like if four sponsors try to get the same people, right? Then there's going to be another round of this going on behind the scenes, and it's very possible at that point that somebody will turn around and say, okay, you know what? We thought, but now we've changed our mind and now we want this person. So it's still possible, but I can promise you that on May 17th, you'll be notified regardless of the status, because the decisions have to be made by then. So if you haven't heard anything by May 17th, then chances are you're going to get an email from me saying, I'm sorry, but you were not selected. Okay. Dave Hall asked a question: will there be balloon twisting classes at Float? So the short answer is yes, but keep in mind that is not our focus. We are expanding into the non-round world. We have one set of instructors that's already been announced that are almost entirely focused on twisting. I will reveal to everybody right now that one of our masterclass instructors is purely twisting. So one of our masterclass, I'm not going to say who it is, but one of our masterclass instructors is purely twisting. Also keep in mind that we have the jam room going 4 nights at the convention. We also have what are called featured artists or spotlighted artists that are going to be attending in the jam room. Now, what does that entirely mean? What that means is that sponsors will be able to essentially sponsor a talented balloon twister in the jam room. That person will be there in the jam room. One of the big problems that a lot of the twisting conventions have had is that a lot of the big name twisters don't go to the jam room. Right? Like there's big name twisters that are there at the event, and then they just kind of disappear and go off and do their own thing. So the idea here is that for our sponsors to spotlight or feature an artist in the jam room. So let's just say, for example, all right, let's just say, for example, it's Tommy Twist. Tommy Twist is coming to Float, and Tommy Twist is going to be featured in the jam room Tuesday night from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. or whatever. Now, what that means is that Tommy's going to be there making stuff and available to answer questions and that kind of thing, and blah, blah, and for you to hang out with and chat with and talk about whatever. He's not there to teach a class, excuse me, but he is there to demonstrate things, make things, whatever, blah, 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 to kind of hang out and be accessible to people, if that makes sense. So yeah, that's kind of what we're looking at there. Also keep in mind, Float is offering, it's for the first time only, we are offering jam passes. So if you are interested in attending the convention, but not going to class, okay? If you have no interest in going to the academic classes at Float, but you do want to hang out in the jam room the whole time and go to all the social functions, with the exception of the Final Night Gala, you can purchase a jam pass at Float and attend for a much cheaper price. If I'm not mistaken, that price right now is $350 compared to the current academic registration, which is $595. So if you just want to come to Float and hang out in the jam room, hang out in the flop zone, go to the parties, go to the vendor showcase, do that kind of fun thing, but not go to class, that's an option as well. So thank you very much for your question. Sandy Presley, how are you addressing multiple vendors slash sponsors selecting the same instructors? Okay, because we're not. The teacher does. Teachers have final say as to who sponsors them. So in other words, if let's say Tommy Twist is trying to be an instructor at Float and was approved, and Anagram, Vitalik, and Gemar all want to sponsor Tommy Twist. Tommy Twist then gets notified you've been picked by Anagram, Vitalik, and Gemar. Who do you want to represent? Now, at that point, from May the 6th through May the 12th, Tommy will basically have a week to decide who he wants to represent at the convention. So that means that phone calls can go back and forth. They can call, well, did you want to offer me something else? You know, whatever, any kind of the negotiation thing can happen. I mean, it's all part of this process. But of course, the teacher also has to notify us by noon on, I think it's the 13th. I think it's May 13th, if I'm not mistaken. They have to inform us officially by noon Pacific time on May 13th who they're going with. And just like the teachers, or just like the sponsors, excuse me, if they miss this deadline, they lose their spot. If they miss this deadline, they lose their spot. We don't have time anymore to play with, I don't know. I don't know. Can I have more time? No. We're at a point where we got to do this. Okay. Things got to keep moving. We got to get stuff off our plate. So that's how that's going to work out like that. So, in other words, once again, if a teacher has multiple people, and it's happened before, it happened at the last float. Jenny Porter was asked to be sponsored by 3 of our sponsors. And Jenny had to make the decision as to who she wanted to represent. And different factors come into play, right? Like for example, if say a teacher, if say a teacher has a very heavy foil class, well, that could directly affect who they want to sponsor them. Because if they already know that most of their content is going to be provided by a particular sponsor, right? Then it would make sense for them to choose that person. Plus, it's not fair to ask a teacher to represent somebody that they don't do business with or a product that they're not wild big fan of. It's just not. So you shouldn't be forced into that. Let's see. Stacy Chase, can teachers also be featured for all one-off class for one-off classes or jam room? Or are they excluded from extras because they are a teacher? Yes, they are excluded from extras. They are excluded. The bottom line is very simple. Teachers at Float are hired to teach. And they are hired to teach the classes that they've been brought in to do. Teachers love to be the center of attention. They do. How long have I been doing this? And before I was doing this, how many conventions did I go to? How many times have I taught? Teachers in general love to be the center of attention and they can't help themselves. They want to be applauded at everything. And so we have teachers that want to be teachers. They want to try to design decor. They want to do they want to do this. They want to do a dress in the fashion show. And they want to no, because when they're too busy doing the decor for an event, and when they're too busy focused on making a dress, and when they're too busy doing the other stuff, guess what often gets sacrificed? The quality of the class they've been brought to do in the first place. And as you all have pointed out in the Step Chat survey from last week, the number one reason why you are at this convention is because of the intensity towards our classes. It's that simple. So with that being said, no, teachers are there to do one thing, teach the general classes. Let other people have opportunities to do other things. That's simple. Let's share the love. It doesn't need to be all about you. I'm not saying you, Stacy. I'm saying you as in a generic teacher. So there we go. Hopefully that answered that. So there we go. Those are some good questions. We've had some good questions. Now, I did have one person that did ask a question off the group that I thought was a very good question. Also, if I'm a teacher at Float and I've been asked to do a booth for a vendor showcase, am I allowed to do that? The answer is yes. That is allowed because the vendor showcase opens for installation for booth setup as early as noon on Friday. So if you're going to be teaching at Float, you have all day, all afternoon Friday to do it. So yeah, go do that Friday and then start focusing on your class stuff, Saturday or Sunday or whatever. But yeah, I do not want somebody making a balloon dress and then they're teaching a class Monday morning or even Tuesday morning for that matter. I want you focused on what you're there to do. It's that simple. And I think it's a good policy to have. I think that's part of the problem. I think part of the problem with a lot of other events in the past is that they've asked way too much of their teachers. I will never forget Matt Lewis. The first time Matt Lewis came to teach at Float, his only experience had been the World Balloon Convention. And when he came in, he said, "Okay, what else am I supposed to do?" I said, "What do you mean?" He's like, "What else what do you want me to inflate? Do you want me do I got to help with decor? What do you want me to do?" I said, "Dude, you taught your class, right?" Because it was a master class. He's like, "Yeah, I'm done." Then you're done. Go enjoy the rest of the convention. And he couldn't believe it. He was like, "Oh my God." Because at the other event, if you're brought in to teach, you're also basically at that point, as I understand it from qualified people who were there on staff and who taught and everything else, they were basically indentured servants for the week. Not only were they prepping for their classes, but they were also building decor for the galas and for the parties and that kind of thing too, where they were helping staff stuff or whatever. And it's like, no, I want you to focus on one thing and I want you to do it damn well. I want people to be fighting for you to come back the next year and teach again. And that's one of the reasons why we specifically say to people, we want you to teach a class you are passionate about. Some of the worst ranked classes at Float, some of the worst ever scored classes at Float were because a teacher was told by the sponsor, "We want you to teach this." And that teacher had no background, knowledge, passion, experience working with that type of product. Some of the worst scores we've ever had at Float were classes just like that, which is why I won't do them. So it makes sense. And I think if you look at it from the big picture, it does. It makes perfect sense. And again, you said it yourselves. The number one reason why you come is because of the quality of our classes. We have to work to keep that standard up. Now we know why everyone wants to teach for Float. Uh, Lisa, that's it's funny that you say that. I know that I am I am I am truly flattered to hear from so many people, especially people around the world, like internationals. Like it is my dream to now teach at Float. And some of these people are pretty damn big people. Now, again, some of that could just be suck uppery, right? It doesn't necessarily. It's just trying to schmooze to get a spot teaching or whatever. But at the end of the day, Float has become the premier balloon convention, very probably in the world. It's my understanding that a lot of the other events like for example, a lot of the European folks that propose to teach at Float, every one of them is practical, 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 hands-on training, blah blah, because they're used to dealing with 20 or 30 people in a classroom. They're not used to 200. You can't do a practical class with 200 people. We went through this in 2024. So, but I am thrilled to see so many people who do want to teach at Float. It makes me very happy. Like I said, about a third of the people that applied didn't make it through the cut. So I again, I cannot. I really want to take this opportunity to thank the members, the anonymous members of the board, who have been working very hard, and they're not done. They're not done. There's still one or two more we got to deal with that are handpicked people. Um, but that's another conversation for another day. Okay. Well, folks, thank you very much for joining me tonight here on Step Chat. I really appreciate your time and attention. Remember, this video will be uploaded to our YouTube channel tomorrow on Monday, April 21st, and the summary version will be uploaded onto the YouTube channel on Tuesday, April 22nd. So with that being said, thank you all very much. Have a great night. We'll see you next time.